Okay, I gotta tell you guys a story. You guys are gonna enjoy it. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Rafa Loza. I'm a short-term rental investor. I've been doing Airbnb for about 5 years now. I'm currently 32 under my own management. I've built out over 100 units, okay? So the other day, I had a guest who was a, lack of a better word, a working lady. Nothing against them. You guys do you. You're all beautiful. I have 32 current rentals that I manage directly myself. Well, not me, my team does. And I saw this lady who happens to be renting a place behind where I live. I happen to manage it. And I see a guy pulls up and there's a BMW, very nice BMW, beautiful high end. I'm like, wow, this is a nice car. I wonder whose it is because I know all my neighbors and nobody drives this thing. And I go out there and I'm looking at it and, you know, whatever, it's a cool car. Maybe neighbors have family over, whatever. They leave. And then as he leaves, I see another car come in. It's something like a Porsche. And I'm like, strange, but okay. They go and they park. Maybe neighbors are having a party. They park. I paid no attention to it. Whatever, no harm, no foul. And they leave. And then I see another car come in. And I'm like, what is going on? So I walk to the back and I peek and I see an older gentleman get out of this car and walk up into my unit, one of my apartments. And so I'm like, maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe she just has a lot of friends. No big deal. I checked the reservation, good reviews. She booked for 3 weeks, so I was happy at a very good rate. So I'm like, okay, Rafa, you're jumping the gun. A day goes by, nothing. I see this girl walk by because I can see people walk by my house. And I'm like, cool, nice lady, right? Older lady. And she comes back, nothing. Next day, nothing. 3 days later, nothing. And then I see a guy walk across my house into the back. And I'm like, you know, maybe it's a friend still. He walks out, and as he leaves, another guy walks. And now they're not driving in, they're walking by. And I'm like, okay. And I see 4 of them. And I'm watching this over a 4-hour period, right? It's on the hour, every hour. And I'm like, okay, I know what's going on. We send them a message. At the same time, my virtual assistants message me and they go, hey, I think we have a working lady in our units. And I'm like, hey, you know, let's not be judgmental. Maybe she gives massages. You never know. I don't know, whatever. No harm, no foul. I don't really care. You know, do your thing. The problem is that this is a small community and you're bringing in random people all throughout the day. Number 1, we don't allow any extra guests past 10 p.m. and they're not staying past 10 p.m. But number 2, it's a private community. We have neighbors with children. I know all my neighbors and they know what I'm doing back there. The owner knows what I'm doing in that building, right? So I'm like, should I say something? So I said, you know, we messaged her and we said, hey, by the way, you can't be bringing people in at all hours of the day like this. We need to ask you to please stop. Day goes by, no response, and then I see it happen again. Boom, boom, boom. Well, this time I have the garage downstairs from this place. I go into the garage and there's a flood. Turns out she clogged the toilet, guys. Water came down, spread everywhere. It was a mess. Nothing bad, just water overflow. So we call the plumber. Plumber shows up, owner shows up, and as the owner shows up, gentleman walks out. Gentleman walks in, and I'm looking like crap. Luckily, as you guys all know now, we do this with permission of the owners and the landlords. Full transparency, they know what we do. We're not doing it behind their backs. Go back and watch my last video about why landlords hate us, or hate Airbnb, not us. But he goes, what's going on? And I go, oh, you know, I think she's doing something up there. And he's like, oh, okay, you know, no big deal, whatever, he doesn't care. As we're fixing the pipe downstairs, he leaves, another one walks up. At this point, I'm already in talk with Airbnb to tell them what's going on, right? She's bringing people in and out, coming and going. We've asked her to stop, she's not responded. We need to walk into the apartment because of the water leak to tell her to turn off the water. So we go up there, knock on the door, she lets us in. Place looks immaculate, nice and clean, you know, no complaints. Again, great guest, 3-week booking, good reviews. What do you expect? We let her do her thing. We just tell her that, hey, the toilet's clogged, we need to come in. She lets us in and we finish the job. As we're finishing the job, gentleman leaves, gentleman walks in. So the owner's like, hey, we can't have this. I said, yes, I know, I'm already in works to get her out, blah, blah, blah. So we start the conversation with Airbnb. Hey, this is what's going on, you know, extra guests. We send all the screenshots. Now, lesson number 1 for all of you that don't already know how to handle a claim on Airbnb, always take screenshots of everything. Always keep communication through the Airbnb app so that there's a record of everything. Never send text messages, never do phone calls because there's no record and you won't be backed. But we send screenshots of all the gentlemen who came so far, and it's a long list at this point. We ask her, hey, you have to leave. She refuses to leave. Airbnb cancels the reservation and she's still in the apartment. Normally I would get the authorities involved, but it's back behind my house, no big deal. So I walk up there, knock on the door, she doesn't answer. So okay, whatever, I leave, I went to the store, we're still messaging her, right? Give her time. We'll see what happens. She leaves to the store, and at this point, reservation's canceled. So we change the door lock on the door. She comes back, she can't get in. She's sitting at the door for like 25 minutes. I walk up and I'm like, hey, you know, you have to leave. You can't be here anymore. Your reservation's been terminated. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm like, no, you have to. Your reservation's been terminated. If you don't leave, we'll have to call the authorities. So she's like, okay, can I please just go inside and get my stuff? I said, yeah, no problem. I'll give you 20 minutes. So I let her in. I leave. I come back 20 minutes later and she's sitting there watching a movie, eating dinner. And I'm like, ma'am, you have to go. Cops are coming, authorities are on their way if you don't leave right now. She's like, well, I'm not leaving, I paid. And I'm like, no, it's already been canceled. Airbnb canceled you because you're not responding and you're bringing in guys nonstop. She ends up leaving. Long story short, she leaves. Took about an hour. She packs her stuff and left. Very nice lady, you know, no complaints. Place was very well clean. Unfortunately, it's just in a small community and we couldn't have that kind of traffic coming and going. Had this been in a big apartment complex, I wouldn't have cared because nobody would have noticed, but something like this, yes. Anyway, besides the point. I contact Airbnb. Airbnb requires all this stuff and the rep comes back to me, and this is a very important learning lesson for you guys. Always know the rules and regulations better than the rep on the other side. The rep says that they're going to refund the entire stay because I asked her to leave because she did nothing wrong, and then they block my listing because I sent screenshots of the door and because I violated the Airbnb terms of service with the camera. So I'm like beyond myself. I'm upset, I'm pissed. I'm like, yo, you guys are messing up. What are you doing? So I start a conversation. We file a claim. We're talking to multiple reps. It took 3 days. On the third day, the rep says, hey, we've concluded that the guest did nothing wrong. Type. We're going to refund her money. We're going to have to block your listing for breaking the rules. And I said, this is where I come in, being that I've done this for a long time. I pulled up the terms of service, house breach. I pull up my house rules. House rule breaking, they broke all kinds of procedures. And so I said, I want you to put it in writing that this guest did not break clause so-and-so by bringing all these extra guests into my apartment where I say on my house rules that they're not allowed to do this. Please tell me that in writing. I will stop and I will move on. Secondly, I need to know when my listing is going to come back because we are allowed to have doorbell cameras, just not inside the house. That camera is outside the door. This was a 3-day argument going back and forth through email with their safety and security team, okay? After I sent that email, they come back and go, hey, I want to let you know that Airbnb has taken your side. I'm like, took my side? Yeah, right, only because I told you guys what I actually knew through the terms of service. They put my listing back up, they canceled the reservation, and I got to keep the remainder of the money. Always know the terms of service. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I thought it was a great story to share because I get a lot of crazy stories. I'm gonna record a couple more about crazy guest stories. It's gonna be a cool little segment that we have on the channel. Tell me your crazy story below in the comments. You know, like it, subscribe it if you want to hear more.